So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then,
Yeah, I
let's
watched
go.
a few of the episodes.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. It's just the way I'm just so blessed and happy that I'm able to have this, get great guests like you to come on and be able to share a little bit of not only your time, but like your talents, obviously. Hey, how you guys doing? My name is John Jeremy, and this is the Quiet Coyote Podcast. Ow! All right, sobriety without the silence. This podcast is about wellness and how we find some truth in the talk. So here today we have our special guest, Vincent, a.k.a. Vinny, a.k.a. just a great guy in general.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much for having me. Big fan of the Quiet Coyote podcast, so it's cool to come chop it up with you.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. You don't feel nervous, do you? Is everything...
Nah, it's very comfortable over here.
Nice. Yeah, the couch. That's why I wanted the couch versus like those... The table was like very professional, but I felt like a news anchor, like, you know... And today's top story. But this is a lot more chillaxed and relaxed and everything like that.
You might have breaking news one day, break the table out. You know
I
what I
do.
mean?
I do have to do that. There's so much stuff with the coyote. Like when I do clips, I wanted like coyote clips or like, you know, coyote quotes and people saying really cool stuff. Because the guests always say something that like sticks out to me. And I'm like, wow, that really helps me. You know, as a podcaster, like listening to you guys come on, like I get so much out of it. I'm growing so much as a person. Like the stuff that I'm retaining and learning. This is amazing.
Awesome, man.
And I'm excited because for my guests out there listening in Spotify land, although they play the video on Spotify, but Apple Podcast or Amazon, wherever you guys are tuning into, or some new thing that I don't know about, Vincent's actually an author. And it's really awesome. I'm really like honored actually to have like an author come on here and like share a little bit about your work. You want to talk a little bit about this, what, you know,
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. You give me a big introduction. I joke and say I'm just a mover who wrote a book, you know, instead of an author. But this is for you, the Libertarian Wolfman. A lot of crossover themes with coyotes, which is interesting. And that's what I wrote on the inner cover and the note to you. And this was a grief project for me. That's my recommendation, everybody. If you're going through something, especially grief or even addiction, you know, whatever art form or creation that you enjoy doing is the most therapeutic thing that you can do, whether it be, you know, music like you make or art. For me, it was writing, and it was very therapeutic for me when I lost my mom. That's what's on the back. So that's my recommendation to everybody, is to, you know, express yourself creatively when you're going through hard times, and you know, you can get a lot of therapy out of it. But here's your personal signed copy. Hopefully one day you could retire off that.
I love this. Thank you so much. The Libertarian Wolfman. Ow. Have them look at that a little bit. Look at it. Where can they find? Where can they get this? Find it
On Amazon.
On Amazon. So just like you can look up the Quiet Coyote, you can also look. I love this.
Yeah, man, a lot of crossover themes, you know, with wolves and coyotes. There, we write a lot about coyotes, but pack mentality, not leaving anybody behind.
I love this. Tell me more about what spawned the wolf theme in this. Do you like, or is it in the book? Should I not spoil
No, that's all right.
We don't want to spoil it.
That's all right. It was always my favorite animal, my mom's as well. But if you research wolves, they're very interesting creatures. They always put the oldest member in the front so they could watch it. They always share the food. They don't eat their own young. They take care of each other. You know, they are very strategic and intentional in the way they move about, you know, almost like a military formation to take care of everybody. And they have values, you know, and, you know, coyotes are just, without getting too biological, coyotes are just dogs and wolves, you know what I mean? So they're almost not pure wolves. So I I think the coyote theme, a lot of crossover there.
I like that. I was always wondering what the difference was between like coyotes and wolves. They have a lot of canine. There's a lot of canines, just like there's a lot of feline ones, like bobcats or like panthers. Like there's that feline bloodline. But with this, like you said, I like how it all coincides with our whole coyote things that are happening here. So you would you like to talk about a little bit about, like you said, this was spawned on by grief and stuff. Would you like to?
Yeah, I lost my mom unexpectedly out of nowhere. So it was definitely the hardest thing I ever been through. So I had started the project before, but I had benched it, and I had all this energy that I had to put into something. So that's when I wanted to finish it and complete that project. And I kind of chose this route. It's just a fictional story, but I introduced this theme of libertarianism, and the wolves as themselves are libertarian creatures because they are independent and they take care of themselves. But societally, the most triggering and antagonistic thing you could talk about is politics. And I think the old meme or the old saying, you get red ants and black ants in a jar. If you put them in the jar, they don't do anything. But then you shake the jar, they start fighting. And
Wow.
and then I think I think most people, the large majority of people, don't know that there's another ant in the jar, that there's another party, another political party with different ideas than both of the other ones.
Yeah.
And a lot of the issues that we fight about, everybody's on one side on one issue, one side on the other issue, and they go down issue by issue. And what I found is that the libertarian solution to all the things that we fight most about is something that both sides can be okay with, So it's a middle ground, but it's not just half Republican, half Democrat. It's freedom back to the people, and I think that's what we need societally. I don't like going to the political realm. For me, most of the time it's sports teams. If your sports team's losing, you're advocating one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think libertarianism, freedom back to the people, everyone having control over themselves and not the government it's just such a pivotal time. So I wanted to introduce that idea in a fun, fictional way. So
this is a fictional story that it's telling us about this, more of like, how libertarianism works well with this. That's the main point of this.
That's it. Most people I ask don't even know what it is. Very smart people I consider smart. I've said it to them, and they said, libertarianism, is that the same as liberalism? Is that the same? Most people don't even know the ideology.
Because it has the same. The liber is there. I hear that. Yeah, like when I think a lot of people do feel that way when they hear the word democracy, or they hear like us as a republic, and those key fixtures of those words. Then comes my own ideas of them. Same thing with so funny. Same things with like some other words that I'm like, oh, like. I can't even think of it right now, but like a word that has nothing to do with where the root word is, which obviously I'm drawing a blank right now. But no, I really like this, especially for myself, because like I'm independent, so I tend to just like see like all points of views, because I feel like everyone is, and a lot of people like. I feel like I don't have problems ever talking about politics. Nobody ever talks to me about them. Like, that's why people like, I have no problem talking about religion, because I have my own like thoughts about those things. And I think that like when people are able to talk and speak freely, like I like listening to Joe Rogan because he doesn't seem to care. He just talks. Like he'll just talk. And like, but like you said something that was very like interesting, because I do feel like people that I've seen, at least online, I don't know if they're trolls or if they're real people, But like, for example, when I'll use Joe as an example, I use him a lot as an example, but like he'll say one thing and then he'll like switch over and be like, you know what, I think I like this way now. And then people would be like, oh, like, you know, when they're really extreme to one end or another, they're like, you're a flip flopper. You're like, you know, not like, you know, I guess they feel like a sports team, like, oh, you're switching teams now. And it's kind of like, well, you know, he's just a person that's talking, and maybe he just wants to just think of something else. Like all of us, I think we all have autonomy, right, to believe and feel what we want.
No, absolutely, man. I know what you mean. I've thought about doing this too, sharing my DMs. I have a lot of private debates with friends on both sides of the political aisle, people who like politics, and I get called, you know, for my friends who are really into Trump and MAGA, they call me a snowflake liberal. For my friends who are really into Mom Donnie and her far left, they call me MAGA, you know, and I'm really neither. But the whole, you know, I just I don't think the federal government is the best vehicle to solve any problem. That's basically my answer on anything, on my position on every single thing. You can, you know, abortion, healthcare, taxes. I don't think the federal government's the good answer. And I mean, we wouldn't have these problems if the federal government wasn't overstepping. Like, you know, most people disagree with what ICE is doing. They wouldn't even have that opportunity. They shouldn't, you know, the federal government shouldn't be getting involved in that way. And on the other side, you know, people are saying, well, what about, you know, the influx and the this or that?
Yeah.
The last administration, they got the Fed involved too much, and they incentivized people too much by putting them up in hotel rooms, this and that. So for me, all the blame always comes back to the Fed. They paid people to come here. now we're paying to get them out. You know what I mean? And they're, you know, overstepping and this and that. But that's what it is to me. It's always, you know, I don't think abortion should be illegal, but I also don't think the federal government should be paying Planned Parenthood to get them, because that creates an incentive for the, you know, when they're getting paid on them. So I don't think anybody should be banned from getting it, but doctors also shouldn't be incentivized heavily to get them, and that's federal tax dollars going there. You know, so that's I'm really just I hate to say anti-Fed, because there's a lot of good federal jobs, a lot of good federal programs, but I'm for shrinking the Fed for sure.
That's a good way to look at it. You know, anti-anything has to be looked at. So saying like maybe reducing, mitigating, you know, putting something in its appropriate place. Like for me, coming from addiction, it's not put in its place and it's just running wild and it's extreme. So that's why like I have to always be on top of that to put it in its place. You know, my emotions, I put them in their place. They're good. It's just when they're running wild and to the extremes, then they're not good, because then I'm running on emotions. And I really, because that's where more I'm at. Like, for example, I'll make an example of like where it's not that I'm for or against anything. And it's not to be like every man. I'm not trying to be the middleman. I'm not trying to stay out of, I don't care about talking or even confrontation. If somebody wants to come and have a confrontation with me about it, cool. Like, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I want to talk to a person. So let's say abortion, for example. Like I know for a fact that when there's certain laws that say like no abortions, like women have died because the baby was dead in their bellies, and they could not operate because they would legally be. So now the woman dies because of that. So I think wish there could be a way that like we do case by case, like instead of just a flat blanketed like, no, this is outlawed. It's like, yeah, but you're saying this, like the baby's already dead, you know, like now we have to get it out, and doctors won't touch. There's story, so many more stories than people know about, that people just die from that. So it's like, that's how I feel about it. I'm like, is there a middle? Is there some way we could be like, I don't know, like case by case, like it's, you know, and it's hard, you know, it really is hard. That's how I view it, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's always the toughest one. You know, I just you know, I don't like when they send so many federal dollars to Planned Parenthood for different things, and then, you know, what they do with the aborted fetus organs for the stem cells. raises a lot of other questions, you know.
What happens to that? Oh, so they get it.
Yeah, I mean, aborted fetuses
Go to the
they're, you know, legally they're allowed to be sold for stem cells and body
really
parts.
interesting. So people don't even know this. I mean, I didn't know this.
So I mean, you know, so it creates a real incentive when they're you know, getting paid by Planned Parenthood per abortion, and they're allowed legally to sell those body parts. It's a big financial incentive off of our tax dollars. So while I agree, no, abortion shouldn't be banned, it doesn't help anything. I don't like that side of the system either. Too much federal dollars going towards it. But you know, I think you know, even the FBI has become so political. You know, when Biden was in charge of the FBI, he arrested a bunch of old churchgoers for sitting outside one of those abortion clinics and protesting it. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was violent. No property was damaged.
Yeah.
They still got arrested. Trump had to pardon them. And what does he do? He arrests Don Lemon for a different kind of protest where nobody was hurt and no property was damaged. You know, so that's why people are like, how could you say you want to end the whole federal government and shrink the FBI? What's the FBI doing? They're doing these, both sides doing these political hits, you know? So that's why that's how I make my argument.
What are they doing? Let's see, the Bureau of Investigation. They're federal, right? So like they're investigating. What, like, when I think of FBI, like I think about like Agent Scully and Mulder, like, you know, going to the X. I'm like, are they doing some investigation of stuff that we really need to know, like about aliens and werewolves? That, or what are they investigating? What? Maybe if anybody's in the FBI, you guys can, like, you know, kind of like, I don't know, put in the comment section, tell us like a little bit about what do you do here?
I was just kidding. I love the feds.
We love you, though.
I was just kidding.
They're listening right now, and this episode isn't even out. They're somehow tapping into like this. They heard FBI, and they're like, I've heard stuff like that too. Like, I don't know if it's true though about like when you say certain words that starts recording, but who knows? I don't know anything about that. So you're saying, I didn't know that. So like when it comes to like this type of you know concept, right, and how we like move with this, it's about the money, right? It's about like what gets funded and how they get funded. Is that it? So like with the abortion thing, for example, so if they say no abortions, then no money is used, or is it used?
Yeah, then there would be no money going to Planned Parenthood. So
Gotcha.
You know, so that's how the right justifies banning. We have to stop this money. We have to stop this money. You know what I mean? So that's how they make the case, and people are like, well, that money is, you know, I could kind of. So then that's how they get their votes on that side. But libertarians don't want to, you know, federally fund anything that's unnecessary, and we don't want to ban anyone unnecessarily.
Well, that's a good word. Necessary. You know? Like, that makes more sense to me. Like, it really does. Like, I think that's probably, that would be a great way of, like, running things as far as, like, you know, what's necessary. Is this necessary? Like, how we do things. Like, right now, like, there's a big debate with the ICE things that are going on. And, you know, watching it without me knowing much information about it is, like, dangerous, because since I don't know much about it, I feel like my input is very, like, has to be very thought out with everything that I say, because I don't know how it is as far as the deep details are, but I definitely, from just a very vague point, I think that doing the right thing, or whatever the right thing may be, the wrong way is still wrong. And like like I guess that's kind of where the powers may be, is like what is right. That it goes so deep, right? When politics, that's where the arguments and the debates come in, because it's like, who determines what is right, and then we move from there.
No, absolutely. I just I struggle to find an example of any time where the federal government got involved and things got better. Anytime, you look at student loans and, you look at the cost of college before federally backed student loans, it was way lower. People could pay, $3,000 a year, this, that. Then the government said, oh, we'll back any loan as long as it's for college. All of a sudden now it's $30,000 a year to go to school. And I think the same thing happened with healthcare. Oh, we'll guarantee your healthcare. Now all of a sudden the cost of healthcare went way up.
Yeah.
And Obama, he wanted to insure more people, but what he essentially does is gives you money back, you know what I mean, in the tax credits, but he didn't change the cost of the health care. So that's why that's kind of blowing up. But any time the government gets involved, they say they're doing the right moral thing, and we trust that the government has our best idea in mind, and you can't point to an example where they made anything better from the dawn of time. So that's why I've become, such a hard, staunch libertarian, and
Yeah, I don't think we covered what is libertarian, just like the independence of the people and with the least amount of government interference. Would that be, or how would be libertarian?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a
defined?
legal framework is what it is of how society can interact. It's what our founders intended. It really. And David Nolan started the party when Nixon took us off of gold because he saw where it was going. But we don't believe in taxes. We don't believe anybody, in force. We don't believe in victimless crimes. And it's, my opinion and many other libertarians' opinions that both Democrats and Republicans campaign as libertarians, and then they govern like their big donors tell them to. Like, Trump was all about let's end the income tax with the tariffs and no tax on tips and no Social Security and no overtime. Some of those things kind of came true. There's a lot of loopholes in them. But even Mamdani, he campaigned on reducing regulation for housing. That's a libertarian. We don't believe in a lot of regulation and licensing. He talked about that, how if you want to be a barber, you have to pay thousands of dollars and do all these tests to be a barber in New York City when you already know how to cut hair. So we don't believe in any of that. Licensing is really necessary above, health and safety. Once that's taken care of, the rest of the licensing is just extortion by the state. But he, and then he also, he didn't want to waste police resources on consensual prostitution in New York City. Controversial thing, but, between two consenting adults, do we really need to spend tax dollars on our police to arrest these two consenting adults? We don't think that's a good use of dollars and things of that nature. But, it's really just control over your own life, your own land, your own property. There's plenty of holes to poke in it, like, what's, the foreign policy and this and that. But there hasn't been a libertarian president. This is just a legal framework that puts the power back in the people. We believe everyone should be as liberal or conservative as you want, as long as you don't force those ideas on other people.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like I mean, from you explaining, it sounds definitely for sure something that I'm probably more in tune with. I'm not into politics. All I know is that I left my party to be independent because I couldn't handle either one. So I was just like, this is too extreme. Even though it's just to be labeled anything, it's like too much for me. So I was like, I really took it took me a lot of paperwork just to be labeled as like an independent. Just like, I just can't. And like, it's a two-party system right now, like, because it's really hard to, it's like when you look at it, right, when they're like, it's almost like I don't know if I'd feel like I'd be throwing away a vote. I'd have to choose at this point, because I feel like if I do choose independent or any libertarian candidate, they would still be
Yeah, that's the racket they got going, Any politician like Justin Amash, he was a Republican, didn't like the way the party was going, so he became a libertarian.
Cool.
Thomas Massey is a full libertarian on every one of his votes, but now, Trump is primarying him because he's not Republican enough. So you're right, it's like a political suicide to come out in the middle, but I still think the more we vote libertarian, it'll make better Democrats and Republicans.
Yes.
Because once they see that number growing, and then there is also concrete, pragmatic reasons to vote. If we get above 5% of the vote, then we get federal funding, and then we can campaign in all 50 states. The racket they have going now is libertarians and Green Party as well, and Democratic Socialists of America, all the other third parties, they have to spend all their money on ballot access, on lawyers in court just getting on the ballot. So they don't have money for commercials or anything else. So
Why is that?
Because the Presidential Debate Commission makes that rule, as well as the 5% threshold in order to get federal election funding. Which I don't think there should be any federal election funding, but the other parties are getting all the money for the federal elections, and we didn't hit 5%, so you get no money. You could spend all your money trying to just get on the ballot, and then they put you on the last page, you know. So
Hidden underneath.
that's it. So that's
tiny letters.
So I say keep voting Libertarian. Look for it on the ballot. In New York State, a governor can't even run as a Libertarian because the last one didn't hit the threshold. That's how they do it. Larry Sharp didn't hit the threshold in 2022, so now in 2026, that same guy, Larry Sharp, isn't allowed to run as a Libertarian.
Really?
Yeah, you have to have 5% in order to just get the line item on there. But I think everyone knows the two-party system's broken. We got to break it somehow. You know what I mean? So we got to let some other parties in the mix.
I would love that if somebody came up. I mean, it's just anyone, just come up and because it is kind of it seems kind of. And for me, at least, I feel like it's getting more extreme. I feel like, especially, I mean, back, growing up, when I was growing up, I did see, the Republicans and Democrats, but they weren't the divide didn't seem so big back then. At least for me, when I was growing up, I would see Republicans and Democrats, they would say, we're Americans, we're Americans. And then lately, almost to stay in the game, in the forefront, or in trying to get votes, it's us against them. If you don't vote for, it's what happened to all of us together? Because divided, the country would, for me, unless in my opinion, in my experience, I feel like anything, right? Divided, we fall down.
100%, man. 100%.
And they're servants. I mean, I'll say it here, if you are even any president, whether you are Democratic, Republican, Independent, you are servant. I feel that way. If I was to be a police officer, I would say I'm a servant. I'm a servant to the people. Whatever politicians, we're we become servants. That's how I feel about it. And then I want to serve the best way possible, and that's taken into consideration, even if my supposed opponent or a person that just thinks opposite of me has a better way of running things. I want to listen because we believe different things, but we're still here to serve people. That's how I view it, at least. I'm hoping.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're in the right, man. I wish all the politicians had your heart. I do. I don't feel like most of them do. I think typically the most evil people seek power, and that's what we're seeing a lot of now.
Get you drunk, that power, though. It is. You know what it is, though, Vinny? Power does corrupt, absolutely. Power, I see it on a very small level. So I told you, when I got in this position as the worship leader for my church, the word leader I didn't even like, and I asked, I said, can we change it to a worship servant or something, that I'm serving the team, instead of leaders just seems I don't know where I'm going. So what I would like to do is to be more of a servant. And they like that in the church, that we wanted to be more of we were serving the people. But even in those positions, I saw my controllingness want to come. It's so I get it. Some people just, maybe they've been in politics so long that it's just hardened their hearts, and they got sucked into the machine of power. When lobbyists come, or people throw money at you, you're it's hard to say no sometimes. They're human, but I'm not trying to justify bad behaviors or evil things like that. But I do see man, you're right. I think people get tempted and they take the bait.
Yeah.
The lure, the hook, they got the fish.
you know, and that's what makes, like, you know, good, honest, moral people stay away from politics, because of that, you know, that evil factor to it. And everyone's like, Ben, why are you so into politics? That both sides are terrible. You can never change anything. But for me, it's like, I feel like, you know, they have the jar, and everybody I love is either a red ant or a black ant getting shaken up. Because I know so many, you know, I spend a lot of time down south, and the people I'm friends with down south, you know, I have black friends who are really into Trump down south. And if I say that to my black friends in New York, they think I'm crazy, you know, and there's all these different divides because of who they're around, who they're telling them to support. You know, up here, most of my friends are liberal. Down there, most of them are conservative overall, you know. So to me, it's all like, you were told and positioned to put on this team. You were told and positioned to put on this team, you know. So I'm just trying to stop everyone shaking the jar, you know, and by taking it, you know, taking power away from the federal government, you know, getting rid of income taxes. Everyone, you know, wants to go to like, oh, Elon Musk should pay something. I'm like, we're not talking about Elon Musk here, you know. I have friends who live in a trailer park, and guess what? They walk to Dollar General, they get their paycheck every week, and there's a deduction. You know, we're all paying income taxes. Like, so we're paying for what? For them to then redistribute it out and waste the money, you know. So we need to really shrink that system, and I think that'll make us, you know, get along better in society, because they're, you know, when the Democrats are in, they're spending money making all the Republicans upset by funding their pet projects. And now Trump's spending all the money on ICE and his pet projects, making the Democrats upset, you know. So for me, we got to turn the faucet off, stop giving them all our money.
If we don't turn the faucet off, we're all gonna drown.
Yeah,
that's really what's gonna happen. Because I really like where you're coming from with that thought process, and because we have love for people. I love America, you know. Born in Smithtown, New York. My family loves America, you know, with immigrants. You know, my mother and father came from Peru, and my sister too. My older sister technically was born in Peru, and got her stuff here. So we love this country, and like we love the people in it, and that is. I think like when people say like, you know, oh, it's never gonna change. I'm like, that's usually from the people that, for them, it's right. It might not change, but revolution and like real change, it takes work. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Lincoln was assassinated for moving forward and what he believed was right at that time. There was bloody centuries and bloody wars. Like this is not like where people can sit or have a drive and listen to this podcast, that we could sit here and talk about it, and they have the luxury from a lot of us, that people that break, like you, that are writing books and not shutting up and saying like, hey man, like, you know, I'm doing this. I believe in this. I believe in us. I believe in people. You know, this is you. This is awesome. I really want people to check this out. So the Libertarian Wolfman. I don't want to butcher your last name, Vinny.
D'Alessio.
D'Alessio.
That's all right.
D'Alessio. I love it. Vincent D'Alessio. Vinny, is there anything that you want to like wrap up with, or I want to have you come back, maybe talk more. I love nobody talks to me about politics. Nobody comes on, and you know, I've had people talk about religion, and I would love people of different politics and religions to come on and have conversations and talk about it, because there's a lot of us that we're stuck in our own ways, and we're like, meh, you know. And I think that this is definitely where I'm at, where I would love to see more people getting involved and talking about unifying, and like, you know, how can we give power to the people? You know, the people are, you know, without the people, the government, there'd be nothing for them to get what they want to get, whatever it is they're trying to get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The government should be here just to serve us, you know. And I had one question for you, but I just want to, on the libertarian thing, I'd love to come back and talk to anyone. I think the reason people are Republicans is because they want, is because they want low taxes and less interference, and the libertarians are the only ones who actually deliver that. And on the converse, the Democrats want to take care of people and they don't want to judge people. Well, the libertarians were first on letting the gays get married. We were first on legalizing pot and showing compassion and not letting the doctors come in and say what kind of medicines and all those I'm talking about the original bans on hemp when it was used for medicine and things like that. So I think it would be an interesting conversation. I think for the reasons people are hardline Republican or hardline Democrat, I think the Libertarian Party does a better job just by advocating that the government stays out of it and lets the people figure it out. So that's my elevator pitch on libertarianism. But I wanted to ask you, because you're from Peru, and I've had friends go to Machu Picchu and take pictures of a lot of stuff, but the lakes in Peru have had more alien sightings than pretty much anywhere else in the world. Coming out of the lake, over the lake, UFO type thing, into the lake. I just kind of wanted your opinion on it, being from there, and if you had any insight from the people of Peru.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Peru has been one of those countries that for some reason has a lot to do with aliens, and I'm not sure exactly. I mean, if you was to go there and speak to the people themselves, they probably just have, you'd hear real stories from things like when, I think supposedly, again, it's all alleged, like they found like bodies that were like alien bodies that were in Peru. I know that when I was 16, I had went with my father to Peru one time, and I've been there a couple of times, and we went to the Nazca lines. So if you're not familiar with the Nazca lines, there are these big mile-long drawings on the ground that you can only see from the sky, and they were made so long ago. So like if you look up the Nazca lines, they'll have like a gigantic spider that's drawn into the ground, that's like really made into the ground. Did all these images, so that's like, we question like, why would we? And then there's like also like what they call the astronaut. There's like a drawn into a mountain, this like astronaut with like a big head, and it just brings up more questions to your question. Like, what does it mean? What's the truth behind it? But I know that I went on the plane and flying around and was able to see these gigantic mile-long drawings on the ground that can only be seen from an aerial view. But the people that made it didn't have aerial technology. So why did they do this? Was it to some gods that they came up with, or like, who knows? Like this, we can talk about this on the next podcast. We could open up with something like this, but I think that I hope that answers a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's good info. I never heard that about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that I got to go see it. But why do you think, if I could ask you, why is it, do you think, that, like you said, the libertarians kind of did it first, then the Democrats? Why is it that the party is small? Why do you think it's mostly Republican and Democrats, and libertarians or independents or green are as small as they are? Because they seem to make sense.
So they're the newest, the Republicans and the Democrats. Before that, it was the Dixiecrats, and then they switched. But they've been around since the start of the country. Yeah. The Libertarian Party is just 1972, I believe, or 1973. Okay. And David Nolan started it under Nixon when they got off the gold standard. And it was a lot of legal frameworks, Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell. And a lot of the early adopters didn't even know if libertarianism could work in practice over the entire government. It was just a legal framework for society. And then as it developed, they created a party platform that can. So it really is just a baby that is being built into a political platform, and it kind of encompasses a lot of things. But the answer why the other ones are still just as big You know, I think it comes down to, you know, they have all the federal funding, they have all the donors, they have all the money to be on the screen. They don't have to worry about getting on the ballot. They're on the ballot. So now all their money and effort is spent on winning. When libertarians, the first thing they have to do, or Green Party, the first thing they have to do, how are we even going to get on the ballot? We're going to have to spend all our money, all our resources. You have to get like 50,000 signatures.
Yeah.
You have to raise all this money from individual donors. They make this list so hard. So that definitely keeps them down. But that would probably be the answer, that they're the baby, they're the youngest, and the system is designed against them.
Yeah, you know what? I hope people now listening to the podcast, if you're interested in what, you know, Vinny was talking about, like look into libertarianism and like take some research and do your own, like we always say, everyone, right? We would tell each other, do your own research. Like, yeah, do your own research, see what fits for you, see what's right. Because I didn't know any of this stuff. So now it's like I'm more educated after this podcast, that I could sit here and be like, wow, like it sounds like something that's like very up my alley, like something that like because it to me, the way you described it kind of feels like me, the independent artist, going against like Drake, who has like a machine of a record label that's like, compared to me, who's just like, you know, all right, well, I do, you know, have to use my own money to like get my stuff up. But independent artists can catch flames, and they can grow. We don't need the machine. We don't need the major record labels to do that. So that's how I equated to this. So if people want to talk about it, look into it. Can they find you or reach out to you, or like what? Like,
yeah, I'm on TikTok and Twitter at Guido Vin.
Guido Vin. Just look for Guido Vin on all those socials.
That's it.
That's awesome. And then they'll be able to chat with you. Maybe debate. You want to debate or not?
That's it.
You're right with that? You're like,
yeah, no, that's cool, you know. And the Green Party too, Jill Stein, she's been very consistent for a long period of time. Where the difference is, you know, she is still for like raising a lot of money and then using those federal dollars towards green projects, but they're still anti-war. Libertarian is anti-war, but check out the Green Party too, you know what I mean? They're very consistent morally and stuff. So even though I disagree with them, I think they're definitely more moral and people aligned than the bigger parties.
All right, that's really awesome. No, I really dig what you know, all these parties that are their attempt and what their you know, mission statements are to go through as a party. Like, again, we're all in it together, and we have to remember that, you know, and whatever side we're on, or like you said, I may not agree, but what we can all agree on is that we want the betterment for us and all our family. And as Americans, I think we're all family, you know, so we'll keep that going. Do you have any parting words? We usually do words of affirmation or anything like that. Like, I'm trying to think of something myself. Maybe I can say, go out there and do some research. Whatever you're thinking of, do your own research.
I like that. Do your own research. That's good. That's good. Don't fall for the propaganda they're feeding you.
Ooh, don't fall for it. Don't get that hook in your mail. All right, cool. Vinny, we'll see you again next time on this thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Lord
much.
willing.
Lord willing. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one.
So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go.
Hey, everyone, look here. Quiet coyote. Quiet coyote.